Sup guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm still alive, even during these crazy times where the world is going to shit. I had no idea that 9 months have passed since I'd sat down and filmed a video. My bad. And it's also been over 3 years since I filmed a Q&A by myself. If you're wanting to get involved in my future Q&As, feel free to leave a question below in the comment section or just keep a lookout on my Instagram and Facebook page. I always post about it on there if I'm looking for something for you guys to get involved in. The first question is, how do you make long-term relationships successful? Well, I guess it depends on what you consider successful yourself. For me, I want a healthy relationship with good communication and for it to feel balanced and for us both to be happy and fulfilled. But I guess for some people, a successful relationship is something a lot more huge, such as a wedding, having kids, buying a house together. A bit of a backstory, I am an only child and my parents are in a successful marriage. They've been together since they were 17 and they're now in their late 50s. I tend to look at them as a good relationship example. They also run a business together, which I do with my partner, no surprise there. The psychology behind this is so predictable. The biggest tip I would have for creating a successful relationship is being hyper aware of your own behavior, their behavior, and how you are as a couple, both privately and publicly. I think that's really important because if you notice you're quite different when they're not around, it's something worth noting. And I also think it's important to look out for anything that could be a red or orange flag when you first get together. It doesn't have to necessarily be a deal breaker. I think it's good to just constantly be aware of what's working, what's not working, and try to work towards fixing the problems. And hopefully from there, you'll be fulfilled in the relationship that you're in. Yay! When was the moment you turned vegan? What suddenly changed? Adaptation to new diets. All right, people. In February 2016, my boyfriend at the time was studying philosophy and he was learning all about morality and ethics. And I always had in the back of my mind that I was eventually going to become vegetarian or vegan. It became harder and harder to deny the fact that it was the right thing to do. So I was pescatarian for about a year, which is a pretty long time considering from there onwards everything happened very fast. And then I was on a trip to Japan. I really did not like raw fish and they kept serving it and it grossed me out to the point where I was like, nope, no meat. Nah. That meal was so gross. It was raw tuna and I didn't know that, and I really hate raw fish. It's always made me feel really sick. And then from there, I started cutting out dairy. It wasn't entirely because I was trying to transition to becoming vegan. It was actually because I had massive digestive issues at the time. My IBS was not good. And I was also suggested to cut it out because of my eczema, which I had my entire life. As soon as I cut out dairy, I was eczema free. And I am shocked when I look down at my arms sometimes because I don't even know how this recovered. I'm so surprised it's not covered in scars from scratching most of my life. Then from there, the only thing I had left was eggs, which I cut out on my 19th birthday. I was in the city with my boyfriend at the time and there was a vegan protest. And usually I would look away, mostly because I knew like I'm already mostly doing the right thing. So I cried on my birthday, walked around the city crying, and I vowed I would never have an egg again. So I stuck to it. And the rest is history. It's been like 3 years since then, so hell yeah. So in terms of adapting to a new diet, it was quite easy for me because I took it so slow. And sometimes I suggest that to some people if they're really struggling with adapting because you're better off doing it slowly than not doing it at all. And you're able to find alternatives that you really enjoy. I know a lot of people who did it overnight, which I think is a little cray-cray, but having said that is definitely the more ethical thing to do. Sooner the better is good. What advice would you give to yourself 5 years ago? Oh, little 18-year-old me. Oh my God, I was such an anxious mess. I'm still a pretty anxious person, but I manage it so much better now. And that was actually the year I started going to a psychologist. So everything leading up to that year was pretty good. Had a pretty good life, don't get me wrong, but mentally, not the best at all. I had just graduated high school. I was about to start a Bachelor of Creative Arts in Film and Television at JMC. I started that mid-year, so a couple of months after I turned 18. and I was in a relationship at the time. We were not particularly stable. I don't think many 18-year-old relationships would be though, to be honest. I was really, really into YouTube. I think I was still uploading twice a week, and I wish I put less pressure on myself because, as you can see, it didn't really pay off. It was super fun, but putting pressure on myself and treating it like it was a bloody business was not helpful at all. So I wish I gave myself more lenience, didn't like freak out every time I couldn't get an upload done on time, like no one cares. Also, I would tell my 18-year-old self that it is very important to be confident, assertive, and set boundaries. I feel like I had so many experiences, mainly when I was 18, where I feel like I lacked so much control when I was in situation with men where I felt really intimidated and like I couldn't say anything. Obviously, it shouldn't be your responsibility to do this, but unfortunately, we can't control other people's behavior. So you got to do what you got to do to keep safe. And I really wish 18-year-old me had more of insight on that. At the time, other than YouTube, I worked a few hours every week teaching children's gymnastics. I can't even do a cartwheel. I had a lot of time and I really could have used it quite efficiently. Oh, and I would also tell 18-year-old me to become vegan sooner. Holy shit, I would shake the crap out of her and say, trust me, it's for your greater good. Everything to do with diet and health in general, I feel like 18-year-old me was not going down a great path. I ate healthy, but I didn't have a healthy mindset. So I wish I could have just been like, all right, stop focusing on all of this bullshit. Just be vegan, eat nutrient-dense meals, and then chillax, you know? What goals and ambitions do you have for 2021? Surviving, woo! Oh, honestly though, is anyone else feeling like that about the next year? Like it feels like it's just gonna become an apocalypse at any moment. And I know that's like a little irrational, but at the same time, it's just a weird world right now. Career-wise, I'm really, really struggling to set goals because realistically, I don't know what the hell is going on. Right now in Melbourne, Victoria, we are only allowed to leave the house between the hours of 6 till 8 p.m. But it's only for an hour and it's for exercise and you have to wear a mask. My ambitions and goals were to keep finding more ethical clients with Bubble Productions, the production company my partner and I run. I really wanted to just create way more content, get more into modeling, get more into acting, do more voice acting, just be a content queen. That was one of my goals, which I'm doing from home kind of, but like, it's not the same. And outside of that, just continue saving money because that has been something I have been brilliant at for the last year or so. That's another thing I'll tell my 18-year-old self. Stop spending so much bloody money. What was your journey like to becoming vegan and why would you recommend it? So I've already told you guys about my journey to becoming vegan, but why would I recommend it? For your health, for your longevity, for the environment, for the animal, to help reduce wastage, to help reduce water wastage, even though that's the same thing, but I meant more food wastage. What is your big goal within the film industry? Feature film, TV series, music video with big artists. Jesus Christ, is it bad that I want to say all of them? It's very possible to do all of those things. I've always been more interested in working on a TV series than a movie. Feature film, obviously, would not turn it down. You can hire me to go on a feature film. I'd love to be there. But television series, I've always loved because you're a family and you're growing together season by season. I recently watched a documentary which showed the making of the TV show Schitt's Creek. It made me so emotional and it reminded me how much I want that. And through having a production company, I can definitely do that in a low scale right now and in the future, a higher scale. So I think no matter what, that will happen, but it just looks so fulfilling. I love working in an environment that's filled with music, and working with a musician who I've been listening to for a while would be an absolute dream. Having said that though, I love working with artists while they're still small and growing with them. I've been doing that with a few artists over the last few years and I can tell that's going to happen in the near future, and that is so fulfilling. That is way more fulfilling growing with them and watching them become successful alongside you. Starting my YouTube channel after the lockdown, any tips for a beginner would be great. It can help you get to like 2,000 subs and then you'll just like remain the same for many years. But as a filmmaker, I think equipment is very important. A lot of people wouldn't say that this is one of the biggest tips, but for me, I think that visuals are very, very important. So lighting, professional sound, and a camera with a good lens does a treat. If you can make it work, it'll look good. Try to make your background look a little nice. I literally just dumped any mess over there. That's the secret. Other than that, just be yourself from the beginning, because I started when I was 16. I was just like putty, like barely even had a personality. And then I just watched a lot of beauty YouTubers and just replicated what they did. And fighting your way out of that is really, really hard. Like even to this point now, I feel like this is me. I feel like I'm having like an existential crisis internally when I think about this. I feel like this is my personality, but I still know like 20% of it is probably me replicating things I've seen online. And that's just how it is. And it's really hard to be 100% authentic. Even like hand movements and shit I'm doing, like I'm probably imitating something, and it's really, really tricky. So I feel like it's probably good if you start a YouTube channel to not watch too many people. Maybe like watch them, take notes of some things, don't watch it for a while and then film, so that you don't end up replicating them too hard, because it is something that can just come across really odd to watch. I feel that way when I watch my old videos.
Hey guys, I haven't done a tag video in a while, so I thought I'd do one today.
I think it's also really, really important to know what your purpose for the channel is, who your audience is, and why you are making it. If you're making it to make money, don't do that. Get a job. It's much easier, and there's actually really fun jobs that are kind of similar to YouTube that make you a lot more money. You almost have to treat it like a business. So if you have a purpose and you think there's an audience out there that'll be interested in what you're talking about, it'll work. Won't necessarily be successful. It's really, really hard nowadays. The algorithm sucks and there's just so many people online, and people have shorter attention spans. Yay. So it's a tricky time, but if you enjoy making it, it is worth it. Trust me. I have now made over 400 videos. I had a lot of fun and I learned a lot along the way, and I have so many memories captured. It is bizarre now. If I can't really remember something, I can literally search sheribubble and then a keyword, and then I can watch my own memory that I've forgotten. It's kind of cool. What's your take on the Australian film and TV industry versus North America? I haven't been to North America, so that's really hard. And the closest I have to understanding the industry there is that Schitt's Creek documentary that I mentioned, because they filmed that in North America. But other than that, I honestly don't have an opinion really. I like the industry in Australia. It is all I know. There isn't too many people, which is kind of nice. I also like living in Australia, so I think that's partly what's going through my head right now. If you could change any one thing in this world, what would it be and why? One of the first things that came to mind was the sex trafficking industry, because if you've done your research, you will know how sickening it is. It is truly heartbreaking, and it obviously is something that's been happening for a while, but a lot more is coming to the surface as of 2020, and it is it makes me sick. I actually make myself feel queasy reading about it every few days. Nope. What keeps you motivated all the time to create? I tend to be someone who faces a mental block and has no creativity at all. I'm not motivated all the time. I'm not. I put the motivated stuff online, so I kind of get why people might think that, but I can be very, very lazy and I procrastinate a lot. My perfectionism is crippling at times. Even setting up this video, I'm still not bloody happy with this shot. It's hard to be motivated all the time. It's not possible. It's not possible. You need time to rest and recover. Realistically, you need to take care of yourself. You need to spend time with your family and your friends and by yourself. It's so important to work on your own self-development. Otherwise, you'll go insane and your personality will just become everything you've created and your career. And as soon as you're outside of that world, you'll just feel lost. So I think it is fine to not be motivated all the time, but some things that do help me are scheduling. So I found the best thing that works for me is a simple daily to-do list. Sometimes I put the top priority things at the top and then other bonus extras at the bottom. And another thing is to fight the self-doubt, because obviously sometimes your ideas are going to be crap and you're going to make it and it's crap, but that doesn't matter because you're still learning and growing along the way. How does taking photos change between your model and your photographer mindset? It's actually very different. I think when I'm a photographer, I'm way more serious. I'm definitely like this personality, like I'm familiar to work with, but I am in a much more serious mindset. But when I'm modeling, I am taking it seriously, but I'm a lot more kind of playful and relaxed. I think it is partly because I've studied well, I haven't studied photography, but I studied videography. So I have an association with studying and working, where with modeling, because I haven't studied it or done anything super serious and intense, I then just still feel like it's playing. I've had a few days now where I both model and photograph, and it is very weird switching in between that. And I often find that when I get in front of the camera after photographing for a while, I actually go a bit blank. So it is really hard to switch in and out of them. Feel free to share your opinion on any of these topics in the comments below. Comments mean way more to me than likes and views. Always have. Much prefer to talk to people than just see numbers. Thank you for watching. Bye guys.